Greetings to you, my Dr. BMS viewers. Welcome to today's video. If you are new here, feel most welcome and feel free to subscribe to the Dr. BMS channel. This is a channel which educates you on all matters mental health and psychological health. So today is the 31st of December 2021. And I come here to bye-bye to my viewers and to thank you very much for the year that we've been, for the support you've given us. For the people who have subscribed and liked our videos, we appreciate you. And as we move to the new year, 2022, we hope that you continue to be with us. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we would like to ask more of you. If you are new here, kindly subscribe to the channel so that we may continue to give more informative videos on psychological and mental health. So today, as we close the year, I come to share my thoughts about the year that has been, and to tell you that we are going to survive. We have survived this year. 2021, right from 2020, have been very difficult years, and that we have made it this far, we are going to go further. So I'm here with a message of hope, a message of determination, a message that we can go on and be better versions of ourselves. 2020 has been quite a challenging year because of the COVID pandemic. It has been a year which has been full of uncertainty, full of anxiety, and unprecedented times, really, if I may say. There are times like we've not lived before. These are new times. And we've been called to change and to adjust to what I'll call a new normal. Things the way we knew them changed since 2020. And coming to the 2021, we expected things to change to better, or maybe to go back to where we have been. But that has not really been the case. And because that has not been the case, then we have been called by nature itself to readjust ourselves to normal as we knew it. Things have changed until we have found ourselves now living at times which we really have been called to adjust our way of thinking, our way of operations, our way of relating. We have been called to work more from home than we knew. There's been a lot of virtual engagement because of physical distance, which has been required because of COVID-19. We have been required to wear masks, which are things we were not familiar with. We have been required to wash our hands more often. We have been required to keep physically distant from our loved ones. We have been required not to engage in big crowds for fear of getting infected with the COVID-19 virus. But besides all this, we have pulled through, and here we are at the end of the year. So I want to say congratulations to all of you who are watching, and to say that coming here, we approach it and we move into 2022 with a lot of hope and with a lot of optimism. But how do we do that? Having survived as we have, how do we move on to the new year? We move to the new year, as I say, by learning, just taking a moment and reflecting on what have you learned. How did you survive? How did we get this far? We were stretched. I have a rubber band in my hand, and you can stretch this rubber band till you break it. We have been stretched to breaking point, but we've come back. We've survived. So, what lessons have we learned? How did we overcome this stretch that we did not break under all the pressure and all the things which we have gone through? These are lessons we are going to call upon as we move to 2022, for them to get us across and to make us survive and thrive in 2022. As some of the things I'm sure we have learned because we have been in this together is just how strong we are. You never know how strong you are until that moment when you are put into test. That time when you are called to survive against all adversity. So we have been called by 2021 and the situation we found ourselves in to appraise ourselves, to look inside and see what capacity do we have to survive. And we have seen, we've learned new lessons. I know some of us have learned new things about ourselves we didn't know. We didn't know how strong we were. We didn't know you can actually survive with one meal a day. You can even survive with one meal every other day. Sometimes we didn't know that you can actually survive with much less than what you've been earning. Because with 2020 and 2021, even our economic earnings has been threatened. Some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us have lost our livelihood. Businesses we were running have not been producing as much as they used to. But we have survived despite all that. So we've learned you can actually survive with much less than you expected, that you can downgrade. Some of us have had to move from where we used to live and go to another place. We have even had to move from from the urban areas to rural areas. And we've gone there and found new ways of living. We found new opportunities. We've found new ways of survival. These are lessons we've learned because of the adversity we found ourselves in and because that was called on us in order to survive. So, picking on these lessons and moving them to 2022, I want to say we are going to survive again 2022 and we are going to thrive. So, let us pick these lessons. Look inside and see what really moved you, what kept you going, despite everything. What kept you going? The social relationships we have. Some of us, I'm sure we have noticed how important our families are to us because we found ourselves locked in and the only people you had was your family to interact with. Now we realize it's important to have a working relationship with your family members. So social relationships have been important to keep us going. And we have realized now when all else is gone, you have your family and you have your social relations to fall back to. So these are good lessons going forward to 2022 we can move on with. So we need to look inside and look around us and see what has worked and we work with it. We see what has not been helpful and we avoid it or we do less of that. For example, with this difficult situation, you found yourself worried. Did worrying work? Did worrying solve any problem? Probably not. So if it did not, then you need to realize that worrying does not solve any problem. You need to get past your worries and get into action. You need to do more of what is working for you. Did being in bad relationship with your relatives or your family members work for you? Probably not. We saw and had a lot of several reports of domestic violence, and that could only have made life worse for the people who were in that situation. Yet some people were able to reconnect in ways that they didn't know because of the opportunity which was provided to them of spending more time at home and with their family members. So these relationships, let us grow them going forward into 2022. Let us interact more with people. Let us be more emotionally connected with the people in our lives so that we get moving and we get to what we call post-traumatic growth. Having gone through difficult times, sometimes that advantage of making you grow, call into your inner strength and make you to grow and be a better person. Now we've learned skills of how to cope with difficulties. When you're going through a difficult time, how do you cope? Some of us might have gotten more engaged with our spirituality, getting more time to meditate, getting more time to be with yourself. So this is something which is good for coping and which we can use going forward. We may have gotten time to change our lifestyles, more time at our hands, meaning you can even go for a walk, you can get engaged in more physical activity. That is something we can carry forward going to 2022 to help us be better people. We have learned how to moderate. We've learned that you can do with less than what you've been doing. So these are lessons we can pick. Financial management, we have learned that you can manage the little finances you have to make you go through. If we were wasteful, spending on things which were not really necessary for us, then these are lessons we can pick going forward so that we manage our finances better and we become more uh, people who can survive with what we have and make it go round and work for us. So these are lessons we have learned and lessons we can pick going forward, because tough times don't last, but tough people do. Life as we knew it may not go back to where it was. We may not go back to the area and time when we could operate freely, uh, without thinking. Really, we just would wake up and go on and move on with your life. But we are being called by the situation we have found ourselves in to appraise ourselves. Now we're being called to wash our hands more often. We are being called to rethink some of the priorities and some of the things we thought were important in our lives. So we will have to let go some of our practices as we knew them, as we adjust to the new normal. So some of the practices we had, like having large gatherings, these are things which we may not go back to in normalcy as it was. We now will have to get engaged with dealing with smaller gatherings, but also keeping engaged. Now there's a lot of virtual work going on. These are things which we didn't know. Learning from home, working from home. Um, this helps us to create more time for us at home so that you can interact more with the people at home. So all these lessons we are picking as we're going to the new year are lessons which are going to help us improve our psychological and mental well-being and even develop what we call psychological immunity. Psychological immunity is when you find yourself that you are able to operate and to help yourself not get into psychological problems. Now, decision making is a very good indicator of your psychological immunity. How do you make your decisions? Are you able to make decisions which are good for you and good for those around you? Goal setting. What goals do you set um, to help you manage yourself better? And with these goals, how do you achieve your goals? How do you work towards achieving your goals? Stress management. How do you manage your stress? What are some of the things you do to manage your stress? So these are some of the things we are going to be called to do upon so that you get a sense of self-growth. You grow from one point to another despite the hard times we find ourselves in, or the difficult times we find ourselves in. Positive thinking is one main indicator of your psychological immunity. Can you think positively about what has happened? What good things can you touch from the situation you find yourself in, instead of focusing on the negative ones? Because the negative ones are there, yes, but something good has also come out of this situation. So that positive thinking will build your resilience. And your resilience is that ability to come back to form when you have been stretched like this. Instead of breaking, you come back. That is what we call resilience. And you build your resilience by coping, by learning coping strategies. And some of the coping strategies is just getting to feel you are in control of your situation, because you can learn new ways and new things of appraising your situation. So as we move forward to 2022, my dear viewers, I would like to encourage you to be more positive, to be more optimistic about the future, because you have made it this far and you will make it further. One of the best ways you can do to make yourself go forward with ease and to cope with the situation as we go is by taking care of yourself. Self-care is very important, and self-care is in several realms. Part of the realms of self-care is just physical, taking care of yourself, washing yourself regularly, getting enough sleep, at least 8 hours of sleep every day, eating a balanced diet. We know a balanced diet has carbohydrates or bodybuilding, energy giving foods. It has proteins which build our bodies, and it has vitamins. And then taking enough water, at least 8 glasses of water per day is good to hydrate your body and to make you feel energetic. You also need to take care of your psychological and emotional well-being. And psychological and emotional well-being, you take care of that by just thinking positively, feeling a sense of control, and feeling that you can survive despite everything you are going through. Purposely finding out what is working in your life and doing it more, and finding out what is not working and doing less of that. If you can, avoiding others. It's important for your self-care. Spirituality is very important. Thinking about our power, which is greater than you. This far we've come, really, we have noticed that it's not by our own effort. There's a power greater than us, which has gotten us here. So, meditation is a good time to get in touch with your inner self and the power which is greater than you. Journaling, just putting down a gratitude journal, the things which are working for you. The sun is shining for us, rains, we have rains now. That means we have food for the animals and for the environment. We have water we can use. So despite everything, these are things which are good for us, which are happening. So you can take care of yourself by looking inside, meditating, keeping a gratitude journal for the small things which are happening in our lives. Even for finding ourselves this far is something to be grateful for. We need also to have social self-care, where you take care of your social networks. You have realized that, especially when you find yourself in a confined space, you cannot survive there on your own. You need your social networks. We need to work on our families. We need to work on our relationships, our relatives, our neighbors, so that we are in good relation with them. And this is going to help us going forward. So work on those relationships. The ones which are not working, do not belabor them, give them time, and with time things will work out. So I want to wish you a good end of year and a very happy new year 2022 and prosperous new year. I hope to meet you again in the new year, God granting us life, so that we may continue to make more informative videos for your psychological well-being and your mental well-being. So remember to subscribe to the Dr. BMS channel, like this video, and subscribe so that we may bring you more informative videos in the new year. Enjoy the festivities with moderation, Do not drink too much or use a lot of psychoactive substances, including drugs of abuse, smoking, marijuana, all those things which are detrimental to your health. So I want to wish you a good time. Take care of yourself. Self-care is very important. Get that feeling of psychological growth and that feeling that, yes, you can do it. Because you've made it this far, you're going to make it further. See you in the new year, and kwaheri. Bye-bye for now. Thank you very much for your time, and keep coming to watch the Dr. BMS channel, where we educate and inform you on matters psychological well-being. Bye-bye.